What's up, everybody, and welcome back to The Hum, a Kansas Hoops podcast via the Field of 68. My name is Sam Lance, joined by Jackson Bezdek. And Bez, we have a lot to go through today. We haven't been on since before the Baylor game, so we got two games to kind of go over, and then Kansas State is coming up on Saturday, so we'll go over that. Bill Self's minor health scare, Darren Peterson rolling his ankle. And then we'll go through some lineup data, just some other stats at the end of the show here today. So stay with us, y'all. The Hum, a Kansas Hoops podcast, coming right up next. Alrighty, Bez. Kansas dominates Baylor 80 to 62 inside Allen Fieldhouse and then traveled to Boulder to win 75-69. The Jayhawks have now won three in a row after losing to West Virginia, where it seemed like everybody was like, oh man, the sky is falling. Kansas has since beat a really good Iowa State team, Baylor, and the Buffaloes. I wanted to start, Bez, with Bill Self and his health scare. I believe it was either Monday or Tuesday, or sorry, it was Monday before the game. Basically, as Self was about to get on the flight, he was feeling some weird chest pains. This is what he said last night on his Hawk Talk show. Self will be speaking to the media shortly after we're live today, actually. He said, quote, right before our team was taken off, I started feeling some abnormal chest issues, and I'm thinking, based off what I've had before, this can't be good. So I go down and get looked at, and everything. Of course, they're getting ready to get on the plane. So I told them, "Can I go?" And they're like, "No, you can't go," which is hilarious in its own right. And he said like he couldn't go because he was experiencing some stuff. Come to find out, I was not severely but very dehydrated, and I've got an AFib. Just had a bout with that. That was pretty significant in a small snippet of time. It was enough. I couldn't get on the plane. He said then afterwards, a little bit later, I've been checked out thoroughly and I actually feel good. I was kind of relieved to know what it was, to be honest with you. So I'm good to go. No limitations. I could coach today. I could have coached last night. They just didn't want me flying and being in altitude, but certainly will be back on the practice court tomorrow, without question. Obviously, Self has dealt with some heart issues, and before I had the couple stents inserted in his heart before the season. Then, of course, a couple of years ago, missed the NCAA tournament and Big 12 tournament, being hospitalized with chest tightness. So, good to see that Bill Self is feeling good, and it sounds like he's going to be back to coaching on Saturday.
Thank goodness, man. Every time we get this stuff, it feels like kind of everybody in college basketball holds their breath a little bit because it's not just Kansas fans. Like Bill is such a staple, such a legendary figure in the college basketball world that anytime there's even a little bit of something like this based off of his previous history, right? It's always a little bit scary. So good to hear that he's okay. Good to hear that it was just a little bit of a scare, just needed some fluids. So. As Bill said, slowed the wagon. Wagon keeps on turning. We keep on rolling.
What did you make of Jock Vaughn being on the sidelines? Of course, it could be very possibly a glimpse into the future. I think Kansas will, whenever that time comes. I think they will interview a lot of
100%.
really good current coaches, but I think Vaughn will definitely uh, have his fair shot.
Absolutely. I mean, he might be the first interview they do. And I mean, it was one game. The game plan was already created. It's one of those situations where like the only benefit to having Bill there is just the Bill kind of energy and the effect, right? In terms of like X's and O's and subs and all of that, like game plan stuff, that was already all mapped out before they took the plane. So you can't really take too much of what Jock did because that was still the entire staff's game plan. Wouldn't have mattered too much if Bill was there. The game probably would have looked really similar. But
But hey, hey, Bez,
that's
Jock is 1-0 as
he's
a
1-0, man.
college head coach.
Pretty
He
good.
has not lost.
He's pretty good. And it's honestly just like cool to see, right? I mean, for as much history as Kansas has, and even like going back to where like, Kentucky and North Carolina aren't Kentucky and North Carolina without Kansas. Even with all of that, no former players, right? So it was just kind of cool to be like, hey, not just a former player, a dog, a dude, a 4-year starting point guard that everybody on campus absolutely adored, every opposing coach absolutely adored. I work with a guy who played against him in the Big 12 back in the day. He's my favorite player, like ever for sure, that I ever played against. People just love Jock, and it's just cool to have that kind of respect and the prestigiousness that a guy like Darren or a guy like Tyron Stokes, can kind of look at and be like, hey, that guy did it. And then he went to the next level and did it. And then he went and coached the next level and did it. Now, he wasn't a super successful NBA coach, but just that pedigree of like, he's been there, done that. If that's who Kansas decides to go with, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it.
All right, Bez, let's get into the Baylor game really fast. I don't want to spend too much time on the Baylor game because if I'm being honest, I don't think Baylor's an NCAA tournament team. I mean, they're 1-5 in the league now. Baylor has two guys, Tunde Yusufu and Cam Carr, who are going to the NBA draft, will be first round picks. Outside of that, ain't got much. I mean, they added James Najee, and we know how that's
Hmm.
going. Not the greatest, and I thought it was funny that I'm sure it's everywhere he goes, but he gets booed.
Dude, I
You
was
know,
cracking it up. Like, he's going to have 2 points.
0 points, 5 rebounds for Najee in that game. Kansas ends up rolling 80-62. The story in this game for Kansas was Darren Peterson.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh dang, Bez. I was
He
there
could have
at
had
that
50,
game.
dude.
I've never seen somebody make scoring in a college basketball game in front of me look so freaking easy. And the thing that I remember just listening, I forget who said this after the game, or maybe it was during, but basically somebody said like Darren is so good because the moves that he takes one dribble or maybe two dribbles to make, other people are taking, 4 to 5 to 6 dribbles to get to that same spot. There's no wasted movements. That fadeaway, Bez.
Hmm.
Gosh dang. Oh man. He
It,
finished he finished with 26 points on 11 of 13 shooting. He only played in this game 23 minutes, 26 points
had
in
50, bro.
23 minutes.
He actually could have had 50. In the past 2 decades, it's him and Kevin Durant. That's the list. Best offensive players in college basketball. It is him and Kevin Durant. There is nobody else touching them. And it's funny because
Mello, his freshman year.
I said past 20 years, past 20 years, past 20 years. Absolutely right, though. If I
Fair
said
enough.
past 25
Fair enough.
years, Melo would 100% be in that category. But it's funny that a guy who could like kind of be in that top seven, top six is probably AJ, who's also this year in this class, right?
And Boozer, honestly. Well, he does a lot more than just put the ball in the
Right. I'm talking like ball at the top of the key, go. It's him and KD. That's the list. And it's hard not to watch a game like that and not get frustrated about how the season has gone. Because you're like, man, if he just doesn't tweak whatever he tweaked back in October, right? Is Kansas 19-1,
ball.
18-2, right? I mean, like
I
you're
don't think
watching
it's
that
that
game.
drastic, Bez. I don't think it's that drastic,
I don't
but
know, man. You're watching that game, and it's like it felt like Baylor had no chance. And by the way, their 2 first rounders were awesome. I thought they were great. I thought they played really, really well. I thought they hit some shots. The same thing. It was kind of like, whoa, that was
both had 20 plus.
it
And
doesn't. Yeah,
Norm on After Dark. I'm pretty sure he was on After Dark after this game. I didn't notice this moment, being way up in the media,
right.
but apparently Tunde, after I forget exactly what the play he said the play was. I think it was a three that he knocked down, and Tunde's beating his chest,
Yeah.
super hyped. And Norm says how he knows Darren Peterson is different is Darren saw that. It was like whoa 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 whoa,
Shut up, bro. You're not that
hold on
guy.
a second.
I'm that guy.
I'm the guy. Yeah, no, you're not the guy, Tunde.
No.
I'm the guy. And then he proceeds to drop 26 points on 11 of 13 shooting, 2 of 4, 3 dimes in there. Yeah, Darren
He can
Peterson, guys.
score whenever he wants. And you kind of saw this in the Colorado game. And it was the number one thing I was watching for. Not to jump past Baylor, but Kansas crushed Baylor.
We're
Great job.
moving on already,
Moving
Bez.
on to Colorado.
Flory had a good game too. That's all you got to
Shout
know.
out Flo. Shout out Flo. Flo played great. So Baylor's front court's terrible. I mean, Florida just ate them up. So you get to Colorado, right? And Bill's not there. So I'm like, this will be interesting to see. Like, is Darren actually going to shoot the ball 30 times with Bill not there? You know, it's like dad's out of town and your uncle's in town and you can kind of do whatever you want. Like, Jock was kind of that guy. And, Jock's not going to tell Darren not to shoot it, right? I mean, he's an NBA guy. That's the opposite of what they do out there. So I'm like, this will be really interesting to see how he plays this, see how Darren plays this. And you can see in the first half, and the announcers keep saying it in both games. Man, I mean, he can just go to the rim whenever he wants. You can see it processing in his head of like, okay, do I take this possession off and let these guys play a little bit? Do I go this possession? I mean, if Darren was on a team, no shade to like, I don't know, Mississippi Valley State. If he had four of those players on the court with him, I think he would take the shot every single possession, theoretically, right? And I think that team could score like 63 points in a game with just Darren scoring. That's how effortless this is. So he literally is taking turns. You can see it happening in his head where he's sizing up a guy and then he'll just kind of swing it to Melvin. He's like, not right now. I haven't given the ball to Melvin in a while. So how Kansas decides to play that going forward. And when you've got guys like Melvin and Trey White who can also create their own shot and get to the rim at will and get to the free throw line at will, knock down a step back three if you're Trey, like you don't have to play like that. So it will be interesting. Colorado started in that zone, and I think Kansas wanted to start with tempo, just to kind of ease everybody into that. But since they're sitting back in a zone, it's kind of tough to get into a tempo. But he knocks down those two early threes, and it's like he's going to go for 30 again. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. Obviously, he missed a few bunnies, tweaks his ankle. We'll get into that, but it is going to be interesting how Bill gets out of this like take turns back and forth kind of vibe that the offense has right now. And you can see it when he goes off the floor. Melvin kind of gets a little, Trey gets a little bit like, oh, my time, my time, my time. We've got to figure out a way to where it's way more seamless of, okay, now it's Darren's time to go. But it doesn't feel like it's your turn. It just feels like it's in the rhythm of the flow of the offense. So that's something to watch for in the next few weeks.
Darren rolls his ankle in this game. Some pretty big news. It was really early in the second half, and he kind of, was in and out down the stretch. He actually did end up playing 16 minutes in the second half, so he played through whatever his ankle situation was. Self gave a quick update on Hawk Talk. Wasn't anything, too major. He just said. Quote, that was a pretty severe turn, as evidenced by how he's walking today or lack thereof and everything. So he finished the game, but he couldn't move hardly. He didn't feel good, so I was really happy and proud of him for contributing in the way he did. I know he earned some cred with his teammates last night because they saw it was puffed up pretty good, his ankle. He also said Peterson's not going to be 100% for a while, so he's going to have to learn to deal with that. Uh, ankle situations are oftentimes a lot different. Players try to play through. Terrace Reed was dealing with one with UConn. He played through in a couple of games. So, uh, Self didn't say explicitly, what his status would be for Kansas State. He'll speak to the media today. We'll probably get that. Uh, even without Darren, I think Kansas is able to handle Kansas State. So maybe why not rest him a full week before BYU? Because Kansas has a week off between there. So we'll kind of see here. But if he was able to gut it out against Colorado, perhaps he'll be able to gut it out here. Bez, who I wanted to talk about from the Colorado game is Trey White because this guy in the second half, Bez, did not make a single shot from the floor in the second half and was undoubtedly Kansas's best player. 11 rebounds in the second half, 4 assists, and he ends up going 5 of 6 from the line. Total game, Trey White with another double-double, his second straight double-double, I believe, ends up finishing with 17 and 15. Bez, 17 and 15. We've been seeing Trey White's praises pretty much all year long. Same with Melvin. Bez, just Trey White, what do you make of this? 17 and 15 off 6 shots from the field to go with 4 assists. My gosh, Trey.
It's funny you said the 6 shots because it's the quietest 17 ever because he really didn't take a ton of shots. He's just so good at getting to the line, man. And it's not just the fact that he can get to the line. It's the feel for we need me to get to the line, right? Not just blindly driving whenever he feels like it. It's when Darren does go down in that second half, right? Okay, clearly he's not 100%. He was pretty gingerly moving up and down the floor. So we try to get into offense, get into your high low, feed Flory. Once Trey sees none of that works, he's going downhill. And it's at a point now where if he doesn't get the call, I'm surprised. Right? It's less surprising when he does get to the free throw line. And he makes it look so easy. Guys, it's not that easy. It's really not that easy. That is a benefit of having a guy who's played in college for years, 4 years, who's been in a bunch of different places, who's had multiple different staffs giving him little tidbits on different ways to be able to get to the line. And when you and it was something coming in this year where we're like, oh, another guy who's played for 4 schools, right? Like that just hasn't worked out very well for Kansas yet. It hasn't worked out very well for a lot of teams yet. But when you start to see him and you see him on the floor and you see him in the locker room and you see how his teammates interact with him, you can tell that it wasn't an AJ Store move school, move school, move school, move school, right? It's a completely different type of guy, a completely different situation. And all of that is paid off to where, and I know we love Melvin and he's absolutely the heartbeat of this team. There's no question about it. But when Darren goes down and when he's not in, I can feel the guys turning to Trey because he's shown that leadership. He's shown the ability. I'm going to play really, really hard on both ends of the floor. Even though I'm a super senior, even though I've been to the tournament, even though I have way more experience than all of you, I'm going to outplay everybody on the defensive end. Man, guys buy into that. You don't think Marco and Jamari are feeding off of that? You don't think Cole Rosario is learning from Trey Wright how to get to the rim? Like this could not have gone better for Kansas. And it's at the point now where we've already said everything positive we can about Trey. Now it's just like, shout out Trey, another good game, another double double.
So, college basketball content posted this yesterday. Kansas senior Trey White is one of 2 players in the country averaging these numbers: 15 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, 45% from three, 83.5% from the line. I wish he would have said who the other player is so we had somebody to compare to. But
They're oddly specific numbers.
yes, very oddly specific numbers.
0.5.
But one of 2 players in the country averaging those numbers, and they're pretty good numbers
Oh,
here.
they're great. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so
Good.
shout like you said, man, we've said so much about Trey already. So shout out Trey White. It just continues to play well. Any final thoughts from Colorado, Bez? I mean, my whole thing is I did not watch the first half, only watched the second half. And in the Discord, everybody was like, Tiller can't finish, Flory can't finish, freaking out, this and that. Uh,
It's
Flory ends
fine.
up finishing with 11 on 4 or 5 shooting, 9 rebounds. Tiller wasn't his best, 2 of 6 from the field, 5 points, 5 rebounds. But this is like I've been preaching this message since the final buzzer ended. It is hard to win games on the road in the Big 12.
It,
Literally any win that you can get in the Big 12 on the road, I don't care how it happens. I don't care if Kansas scores 40 points. If the other team scores 39, winning on the road in the Big 12 is a positive. And Colorado is not just like, they
no.
got a lot, they got some good young guys. Like Isaiah Johnson, that dude's going to be a hell of a
Yeah.
college player.
Oh,
Like,
man, I liked him. Boy, I liked him. And to your point, how about you? Since you didn't see the first half, the TV timeouts, man. There wasn't a stop for 6 minutes. Twice in the first half, it was choo 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 in altitude off of 2 days rest. Hey, man, I give a lot of
playing
props.
seven guys, playing
I
seven
give
guys.
a lot of props to those seven guys, and I give a lot of props to the staff for getting this team ready because that first half, once they got out of that zone, it was up and down, up and down, up and down. It was so fast. It was so fast. And to go into that environment, playing a super high tempo game with altitude, with your coach gone, on 2 days rest, knowing you got your rival looming ahead in a place that you need to get a freaking win at.
Yep.
You got to get one. Okay. And they came out and executed. They came out and guarded. The second half defense was awesome. Awesome. And that's after a first half of sprinting up and down the floor in high altitude. So, and I know Colorado, they're not a tournament team, but that nonetheless, that's a very impressive win.
I'm with you, Bez. All right, everybody, join us at the under four here coming up. We're going to talk a little bit of statistics, put on the glasses, as they say, and then we're going to look ahead a little bit, predict Kansas's final record, and do all sorts of fun stuff here at the under four. So stay with us, y'all.
There is no sport in America that is more difficult to follow than college basketball. It can be overwhelming. That's where the Field of 68 Daily comes into play. The Daily is your go-to source for injury updates, recruiting news, and transfer portal additions that actually matter. For just $50 a year, get access to the same information that your favorite team's coaching staff is subscribed for. Quality content can be hard to find in the college basketball space. The Daily is here to help you with that.
Welcome back, everybody, to The Hum, a Kansas Hoops podcast via the Field of 68. We're going to go through some lineup data, some numbers, and kind of look ahead for Kansas this year. Uh, Bez, I'm going to quiz you here
Ah,
to do this. We're going to go the best three-man and two-man lineups. I want you to try to guess. Kansas's best five-man lineup per Evan Maya is the starting five, but that starting five has only played 128 possessions together,
right. Hmm.
which a typical college basketball game is anywhere between 60 and 85 possessions. I believe is somewhere around there. So uh, Kansas with that starting five, according to Evan Maya, has had about two games, a game and a half ish together on the floor. So can't really dive into that much. And then the best four man is the starting five uh without Tiller, which
Okay.
is pretty obvious. Tiller is probably the weakest link of the starting five. Best three man, Bez, and there's a name in here that you would not expect, but who do you think is the best three man lineup for Kansas this season?
Okay. Is Darren in it?
No,
Okay. I'm gonna go Trey.
no.
Really? Flory's in it.
Flory is in it,
Melvin's got to be in it.
of course.
So Melvin, Flo, and a wild card of Jamari or Amarco.
Jamari McDowell, baby.
See, that doesn't make sense to me because he gave up like 18 points on defense against Colorado. So I don't know.
That
Maybe
is his,
yeah,
small sample size, Bez. This
yes,
is across 368 possessions here. All right. So he
yes.
might have had a little bit of a bad run there, but I mean,
But he makes shots. Like when
He makes shots,
is
he
he 50%
guards.
three right now? And he can hit shots.
There is no drop off when Jamari McDowell is on the floor. Let's just say that. There is no drop off. Two man, Bez, who is the best two players on the court for Kansas this season? And what's really interesting is this is actually the worst raw defensive efficiency
Mm.
on here.
I would immediately think Mel and Flo would be my first two.
It's Flo and Trey, actually. Flo
Well,
and
how is
Trey.
Trey not in the best three man, but he's in the best two man? I don't get this stuff. And I probably should. It's kind of my job. I gotta figure this out. I gotta figure this stuff out.
Yeah, Flory per Evan Maya has the highest
That
BPR
makes sense. That makes sense.
on the team, and BPR is basically the rating that measures a player's overall value. Kansas has Flory at 9.05, then Darren at 7.87, and then from there it's Trey, Melvin, Jamari, Tiller, El Marco. And then Dawson, Samis, and Kohler on here both have they all have very low
Right.
BPRs, of course. So yeah, I thought that was kind of a little interesting. Uh,
Yeah,
wanted,
this stuff tends to favor bigs, right? I mean, you can even go look at his player of the years, look at Ken Palm's player of the years. It's all power forward centers. I mean, Hunter Dickinson was like the third best player in college basketball last year on Ken Palm. Like, no, he wasn't. But the bigs, because they can rack up rebounds like that and have a high field goal percentage, that's kind of how that goes.
yeah, a couple Kim Pom things. I wanted to mention Kansas is top 10 in several categories defensively. Top 10 effective field goal percentage, 3-point percentage. They're right on the cusp in 2-point percentage. Teams are shooting 45.2% from two against Kansas, and a big part of that is Kansas ranks second in the country in block percentage at 17.4. Shout out Flory, who, by the way, became the fastest player in KU history to 100 blocks in that Colorado game, which is really impressive considering that is a stat based on games, and Flory last year was playing a very minimal amount of minutes. So that's really impressive. Kansas also assists on a lot of their field goals. The two concerns on Kansas's maybe three concerns on Kansas's analytical profile is one, offensive rebounding percentage is ranked around 250 in the country. If you look at the elite teams this year, pretty much all of them have very, very elite offensive rebounding.
Right.
Kansas also doesn't get to the line a whole lot. Free throws attempted to field goals attempted is at 33.5%. That is up a little bit from last year, which was at 24.4%, which was
Oh,
pretty much bottom D1. So
yep.
Candace is doing a better job at getting to the line. Anything for you, Bez, that kind of stands out statistically about Kansas? I mean, at this point now, as well, you got Darren averaging 21.6, and then you got Trey, Flory, and Melvin all averaging above 13 and a half points per game, which is splendid. And I
Yeah.
think that's for Kansas to be a good team, uh, probably going to need 14 a night out of those three. Get Tiller in that 8-point range, and then Darren, going off for 20. So that's good offense right there.
I think what sticks out to me, 190th in tempo on Ken Palm. That's got to be higher, I think. I think that's got to be higher. And
I think that's
I,
a result of the Big 12 a little bit as
I 100% agree. I 100% agree. And it's also a little bit of a result of Darren being out for as long as he was and Kansas trying to figure out what the heck they were even going to do offensively. So that kind of forces you to slow down. But kind of to my point to the Colorado game, I think that can help ease the my turn, your turn, my turn type of vibe that I'm getting a little bit right now. Just go, man. Just go. And whoever runs the fastest gets the layup. Whoever spots up in the corner the fastest gets the three. Darren's not a selfish player by any means. He just can literally score whenever he wants. But he knows the ceiling of this team is not me scoring 40 every game. He knows that. Okay. So I think let's go. Let's run. Let's run. Let's run. Flory loves to run offensive transition. He loves it. Let's go, baby. Let's get out there. You don't think Tiller wants to run up and down? He's tired of missing jump hooks. I'm tired of watching him miss jump hooks. Just go run the floor, Bryce. Like I think that can really open up a lot for this team offensively. They're still, I mean, I think what they're 38th on Ken Palm offense right now. Pretty respectable number. But when you're talking about a Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four team, you got to be in the top 20 of that offensive rating. And I think getting the tempo up is going to really, really help with that too.
Yeah, I will say though, Kansas's strength of schedule, they've played against per Kimpom. They have the number one strength of schedule defense and number six offense. So Kansas has a top 40 offense against the best
Against
defenses
the best.
in the country.
Right.
So I think
It'll
that,
all even out. It'll all even out. Right.
yeah. All right, we ain't got much time left here. It looks like about 3:30 before my not Zoom premium ends us here, Bez. So let's go ahead and predict. You look ahead here at Kansas' schedule. You got Kansas State, and then of course we mentioned earlier you got a whole week off until BYU, and then you start. I believe this is the toughest five-game stretch of the season. It's BYU at home on the 31st, at Tech on February 2nd, home versus Utah on the 7th. Then you got Arizona at home on the 9th and at Iowa State. That five-game stretch is absolutely brutal. And then you have Oklahoma State, Cincinnati. After that brutal stretch, two of the weaker teams in the league, and then it's right back to Houston, Arizona, and then Kansas closes out the season at Arizona State, at home against Kansas State, which I think is a pretty nice way to end. The question
Hmm.
is, Bez, what does Kansas finish this season? I'll go ahead and go. I'm gonna go, win Kansas State, and then 8-4 the rest of the way. Losses at Iowa State, at Tech, at Houston, and then Kansas will drop one of BYU, Arizona, or Houston at home. I actually, I'll say Arizona or Houston. Don't think Kansas is losing to BYU on a week of preparation. That would put
I
Kansas at
agree.
23-9 heading into the Big 12, 12-6 in conference. Bez, I think you said you have the same as me. Really quickly, uh,
Yeah.
go through it.
Yep. I totally agree with that. As much as I don't want to predict a home loss ever in my life, and that's a tough 3 game gauntlet that you got to go through. The Big 12's never been this good. You're probably going to drop a home game. It's okay. And then yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Kansas actually beat Tech on the road. That actually wouldn't surprise me a whole lot.
I would be shocked, Bez.
But Kansas plays well there. Bills had really, really good games. Bills won games there where his team may not have been like a 5, 6, 7 point favorite. So Kansas probably be a 6 or 7 point dog in that game. I would not be shocked. JT gets too early. Christian Anderson starts over 3. Like there's a way where Kansas can get that win. But nonetheless, even if they do pick that up, I could totally see a Arizona State Tempe loss. Sky is falling right before the Big 12 tournament. I could totally see that.
All right. So yeah, you're at 23-9, 12-6 conference as well.
Yes. Yep, we're the same record.
Gotcha. And I think that's good enough this year for probably a 4 seed if Kansas wins a couple games.
Yeah, you're right. You're right on that 4 or 5 line. You win a couple in the Big 12 tournament, you're a 4 or 3.
All right, y'all. That's all we have today. Thank you so much for watching. I feel like we don't say it enough, but we truly do appreciate all the support for you guys. Keep liking the videos, keep dropping comments on YouTube. It helps us with the algorithm, and we have some very cool stuff coming up. Some potential guests and interviews. So be sure to stay with us, y'all.